So I am here today to tell you about what we are going to show you in each episode. What are the segments that we are going to discuss in each episode. Every episode we have designed in such a way that it's a combination of 5 or more than 5 segments. What are they? Of course, this same order may not be followed, but I would like to tell you the segments. There will be conversation, story narration, then you would also find an inspirational incident from Grace's personality's life, or an anecdote, or a parable, grammar, and a quote for you to think over. Now I shall tell you individually about these segments. So first I had mentioned about conversation. So conversation is supposed to be between two people. They would come and discuss some issue before you. Then when they discuss, note down what are the points that they are discussing. You would have a story narration. A story would be narrated to you, and on the screen you find the scrolling coming up. Follow the scrolling and the narration. Try to learn the new vocabulary which is being used, the grammar, the structures, etc. Then another segment where either we would have inspirational incidents from great personalities' lives, or an anecdote or a parable which would be narrated to you. Once again the same point comes in. Observe. Observe the vocabulary that is being used, the structures, the grammar that is being used. And in another segment we would directly discuss grammar for you, because grammar is the backbone of the language. So in the grammar we would give the explanation for the topic. There will be some nice examples, the usage part, and also exercises which either would be in this episode or the next episode. Now sometimes these grammar issues also, they may not be completely discussed in one particular episode. Sometimes they may be carried over to the next episode and so on. And we would also show you one quote, one inspirational quotation. When that quote is shown, think about that quote, cogitate on it, try to understand and imbibe that idea and follow it in your life. So this is how we have made it a mixture of different things put together, and with the main aim, only one aim, that is learning of English. English is a language, and to learn the language you need to expose yourself to many things. So that's how we have designed these episodes, and I hope you will be able to learn the language quickly and easily. That's what each episode of our telecast would be giving you. Okay? So right away we shall get into the episode. Now we have some grammar for you.
Hello, how are you all?
Fine, madam. Madam, how are you, madam?
Good. What happened to your interview, Arvind?
I didn't speak well, madam. Interview.
You didn't speak well?
Yeah, madam.
Okay. What about you?
Last week I attended the interview, ma'am. I cleared my 3 phases. 4th phase results was not today,
declared. Okay.
not the day. The results will be updated on some other day.
Okay. What about did you face any problems while attending interviews?
I attended one time, madam.
Huh?
That time I didn't speak fluency.
Okay. So, you know, an interview is the most important thing for getting a job. And you all must have heard that the first impression is the best impression. So, the interview is the best time for you to impress the person who is going to employ you. At the same time, the person who wants to employ you also wants to know about you. So this is the best opportunity. But when you go for an interview, there are some things which you should not forget. First point, never sit down till they ask you to sit. The second thing is, speak only the truth, whatever you have proof of. Okay. And finally, speak up loud. Your voice should be audible to the other person. Otherwise, the people start thinking a low voice also indicates lack of confidence. Hmm? Because you all are very confident in your subjects, your voice should be loud and clear. Hmm. So, normally, how should you introduce yourself? So, there are certain aspects to be mentioned, and almost there are about 10 aspects to be mentioned. Okay. So, we will start with each one of those. The first and foremost is your name. Now, there are different ways of telling your name, of introducing yourselves. How would you introduce yourself, Uppalaya?
My name is
My name is B. Uppalaya.
my name is M. Arvind.
This is Forma.
Okay. Now, you can either say, my name is, or I am. Okay, tell your name. Never mention Mr. before your names. It is not Mr. Uppalaya, it is Uppalaya. It is not Mr. Arvind, not Mr. Verma. Secondly, whenever you mention your name, don't mention this is in an oral interview. If it is an interview, a telephonic one, it is possible you may say this is, but that is an informal way. Formally, when you say, it should be only my name is or I am. Okay. So, next we come to age. Now, there are different ways of saying your age, telling people about your age.
I am
My
20.
age.
Okay.
I am 22.
Yes.
I am 26.
Okay. So, you can either say I am 22 years old or my age is 24. But remember, never to combine both. Never say my age is 24 years old. It is only my age is 24. Okay. So, next we come to your qualifications. Coming to your qualifications too, there are many ways of saying it, isn't it? So, what are you doing?
I am doing second post graduation.
So, you can either say, I am doing post graduation from which college?
In JNTU.
From JNTU, from the university itself? Affiliated to. See? Okay. So, it should be the name of the college affiliated to. Or you can say, I am pursuing. If you are still doing the course, another way of saying it is, I am pursuing my PG, I am pursuing graduation from the name of the college and affiliated to this university. If you are saying it in short form, for example, JNTU University need not be said because U stands for university. You can say Osmania University because the U obviously stands for that. Okay. So, what about you? So, you can say I am a postgraduate or I have completed my post graduation in. Now, what is the subject? In
Economics.
economics. From college.
Nagarjuna College.
From Nagarjuna College. Affiliated to
Mahatma Gandhi University.
Mahatma Gandhi University. Okay. So, there are different ways of mentioning what you are doing, what you have done. But remember, never mention the name like name, age, qualification. Instead of saying my qualification is or my qualifications are, a better way of saying is I'm doing PG, I'm pursuing, I hold I hold a postgraduate degree in economics. I possess a master's in economics. I'm a graduate or I'm an engineering graduate in computer science or mechanical engineering or civil engineering affiliated to university. Okay. So, those who are continuing, as I said, I'm doing PG or I'm pursuing, that can be mentioned. But as I mentioned before, never mention qualifications directly in that. These are different ways of expressing yourself, and this is the way the person who is going to hire you is aware that you are capable of using the language. Now, another thing is, next we come to, what are your hobbies?
My hobbies are watching movies, listening music, reading books.
Okay, hobbies, or instead of using the word hobbies, you can use I like. Hmm? I like reading books, listening to music. Don't omit that. Yes, and
Watching movies,
watching movies. These are the things which I like to do. Or what are the other way of saying? How would you say it?
My hobbies are reading books and playing games.
Reading books. My hobbies are. You can also say my pastime is. My yes. My pastime is, or I am interested in, okay, or I enjoy. These are different ways of saying what you like to do in your free time. But remember, there is no word called time pass. Okay, there is no word called time pass. Pastime is only what you like to do when you have free time, when you are free from your other jobs, other things that you are doing. And this is one way the employer is going to find out whether you spend your time usefully or productively or waste time. So be careful about what you mention as your hobby. So if you mention your hobby as just chatting with friends, chatting with people online, it gives the impression that you waste a lot of time. You seem to waste a lot of time. So nowadays, you have to be very careful. Your online presence is also noted. So if you are applying for a job, they look up your profile. They also see how you engage yourself in, what kind of people you talk to, what kind of language you use. So always be very careful about what you do. One more thing you can use here is I am fond of. I'm fond of reading books. I'm fond of listening to music. But be careful, whenever you say something, be ready to give a further answer. So if you say I love listening to music, you should be able to justify it. You can justify that, no, I do it only for relaxation. But then if you try to show that it's much more than that, you have to be very careful. Okay, so you can also say, I'm a movie buff. That means you don't miss any movies. You are fond of fashion. So you like to follow whatever is there. You can also say, though I like to see what's happening, I don't follow it. So what does it tell about you to the other person? When you say that I am very keen on following what's happening, but I myself don't follow it. It only shows that you are very steady, you are consistent, you don't change with the latest fashion. That also matters a lot. Next we come, what is the difference between hobbies and habits?
Hobbies
What are
are
hobbies
Individual.
and habits?
which you like. Hobbies is which you interesting in the life.
Hmm?
To reading newspaper, reading books,
That's something you like.
something you like.
Now, habits. People very often get confused between hobbies and habits. A hobby is something which is different from your routine work. It is different from maybe your profession, and you like to take it up to relax yourself. Like there are some people who like to do photography. It's a hobby. A professional photographer who takes photographs for events cannot say my hobby is photography. Similarly, there are many other professions like this. Painting. There are some people do painting just like that. It relaxes them. Hmm? So that person, it's not their profession. They don't get money out of it. But at the same time, they do need to know a lot about that, isn't it? If you want to take pictures, you should know what should be the angle of the camera, what should be the amount of light which comes in. So many things about the lens, so many things you ought to know. Similarly, some people like to do bird watching. So they keep on observing birds. They realize it's a new bird which has come into it. It's not just looking at it and enjoying the beauty. Once you take it up as a hobby, you start reading about it. You start getting to know more about these things. Similarly, gardening. A gardener, for him, it's a profession. It feeds him. But if we do gardening as a hobby, we need to know so many things. When does a plant grow, at what time? Is it seasonal, or does it come all through the year, or does it require more water or less water, more sunlight or less sunlight and shade? There are many things which you get to know through hobby. So pursuing hobby is a very good way of spending time. Any question?
Hobbies.
Hmm.
What do you use hobbies?
Hobbies are
Plural.
these.
Yeah. Plural
When you have more than one hobby,
habit.
it is hobbies. If you have just one hobby, it is a hobby.
Habit.
When it is more than one. But this is a routine. Habit is a routine. Do you drink coffee in the morning?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
a
sir.
habit. Okay. Do you wake up early in the morning?
Yeah, madam.
That is a habit.
Yeah.
So some people don't take coffee at all. They don't drink. Okay. So similarly, you go out often? Every Saturday I have to see a movie. So it becomes something like part of your routine.
Yeah, madam.
Habit is what you do. Some people, they even out of while eating also, they are habituated to eating more spicy food, less spicy food, more salt, less salt, or using only one particular toothpaste could also be
Want more, madam.
which one?
Habit.
Ah.
Someone
Habit is
wants
Okay,
more,
habit.
more habit.
So you don't get out of that habit.
Uh-huh.
It's very difficult to lose a habit. That's what you mean, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Once it becomes a habit, you can't give up. You want to have more and
more.
more of it. Yeah, that's a very nice way of putting it, actually. Okay. So next, after all this is done, we come to your ambition.
My ambition is to become good employment,
To become a good,
government employment,
to become a
government job.
employee. Now, what's the difference between an employee and an employer?
Employee singular, madam.
No, this is the person who gives you the job. You are an employee. A person who works is an employee. A person who gives job is an employer. Okay. So, when you talk about your ambition, what is your ambition?
My ambition is a good software engineer.
That is the verb. So, ambition, instead of saying again, I mentioned before, don't mention the word ambition, qualification, age. Say the same thing in a different way. So, you can say, I would like to become. Yes, what would you like to become?
I would like
A software engineer. Yes. What is your dream?
I would like to become a good government job.
No, you can't become a government job. To get a job. To get a job. To get a government job. So, there is nothing like good or bad. Every job is good. Isn't it? What do you mean by good?
Is to better
satisfaction.
You should
Yeah,
have. You should have.
satis.
Yes.
In
Our service.
In your view, you should like it. Okay. The job kind of job should appeal to you. And then, as you say, you should get job satisfaction. That is what it is. Okay. So, what is your
I would
ambition?
like become a teacher.
I would like to become
Yet
a teacher. Okay. So, when you say that, it is very important not to miss out the verb to be, to become. So, remember, never forget to mention to become. I want to become. And when you mention, there's nothing called good job. Everything is good. Everything is good. So you just have to have a very clear idea of what your ambition is, because right now it starts, isn't it? The ambition should have been there, should be, definitely is there with you people right from the beginning, and that would help you to achieve it. So remember, my desire is to be, I dream of, my desire is to do. So very often people say, I become government. You cannot become we cannot become the government. I want to become a government employee. I want to become a teacher, a successful teacher, an effective teacher. That also matters. Or I would like to become an efficient software engineer. So these are the various ways of mentioning what your ambition is. So now, can you rephrase your ambition? Rephrase. Tell it in a.
I would like to become a software.
Like to become.
I would like to become a software engineer.
I would like to become a good person.
Good person. Yes. So don't leave it like that. To become a good person. Okay. So as I told you, don't stop with I want to become a good person, because you are appearing for a job interview. So when you say that, it should be something related to that. So naturally, Upalaya will be attending an interview only for a teacher's job, isn't it? So and you will be attending an interview for a government job, and he will be attending an interview for a software. So as such, being a good person is common for all of you. But having come to that interview, it has to be related to that particular field.
Now, listen to two friends discussing some important issue.
Good afternoon. I think one of the most important things that will put a stop or that might stop us from succeeding is fear. Fear is an emotion or a feeling which means we are either scared of something or someone. Fear is an emotion that we all experience at every point in our life. As children, we are scared of monsters. As teenagers, we have a fear of what the others have an opinion on us. As young adults and adults, we have a fear of failure. As in, we have job interviews coming up, we have exam results, we don't know the results of the exam, we don't know the results of our job interview, whether we'll be able to succeed or not. That is fear of failure. And as an elderly, you have fear of health issues. So regardless of age, fear is something that we all experience at every walk of life. So it is very essential for us to know what our fears are and how to manage it.
Exactly. Now, before we learn how to manage our fear, we should first know what causes the fear that we have.
True.
There are different kinds of fear, which each of them are caused by different things. Let's just take a look at a couple of them. One of the main reasons for fear is not knowing about something fully. Ante, there is a fear of the unknown. What we do not know completely is causing us to be scared of it. For example, we are meeting somebody new. We don't know anything about them. When you meet a stranger, you don't know their likes, you don't know anything about them. So you will get scared. Will they like me? Will they hurt me? Are they nice people? Can I be friends with them? What are they thinking about me? So many questions come in our head. So we get scared because we don't know anything. Similarly, it is night time. Office or your classes are all finished and you're coming back home. Now, if you're walking down the road and you hear the temple bell ringing, you know the sound of a temple bell, you recognize it, so you don't get scared.
Exactly.
But suppose you hear some new sound which you don't know, before even thinking what is the sound, first you will get scared because you have not experienced, you have never heard that sound. It is very new to you. So, there is a fear of the unknown.
Exactly.
There is another kind of fear which is called phobia. Phobia is not just a simple fear. It is a very strong, severe amount of fear and scaredness that we have for something. Yenta ante asalu manaki oopiri radu. We can't breathe properly. We become dizzy in certain situations.
True.
For example, some people have a fear of heights. If they're standing on the terrace of their home and they look onto the ground floor, the height is so scary for them that they become dizzy. They can't breathe properly. So fear of heights is called vertigo.
Okay.
Similarly, some people have a fear of darkness. Chikati ante, they get so disturbed, they cannot go into darkness at all. That is called nyctophobia.
Nyctophobia.
Nyctophobia. Phobia is a severe scareness, a severe fear. Okay. Nycto represents darkness. So nyctophobia.
Oh.
Similarly, some people are terribly disturbed when they see a spider. Spider దగ్గరికి రాగానే అసలు ఆ చోట్లో ఉండలేరు. ఊపిరి రాదు, లోపల నుంచి ఏదో డిస్టర్బెన్స్ వచ్చి అక్కడ నుంచి వెళ్ళిపోవాల్సిందే. So people who have an excessive fear of spiders, they are said to have arachnophobia.
Oh.
So this is one kind of fear. Now the third reason that we feel fear is because of anxiety. Ante we worry too much. Now as you rightfully said some time ago, when we have exams or we go for job interviews, we don't know what the result will be. And we end up worrying, pass outana, will I get the job? You don't know what to do. So that kind of worrying, that kind of anxiety also causes fear.
That is among everybody, I think.
I think so too.
Now, the best way to manage fear is to face it. How do you face it? The moment you get scared or you're afraid of something, first face the fear and then question, what am I afraid of and why am I afraid of it? Accept something that is coming to you in the first place. Why are you scared? Because you don't know something. You're new to it. So accept it. Accept the unknown and then learn about it. Learn thoroughly about it and then you're confident of it. And there is nothing left unknown. You know it. So it will be a new experience for you. Then there is nothing to be afraid of. All you have to do is be open-minded. And you need to accept that you don't know, you learn and then you move on. The next will be fear of anxiety. As in constantly worrying or getting stressed or getting scared a lot. Why are you scared? Why are you worried? The first thing that you need to think is stop and think. What am I doing? What can I do about it? Can I do something by worrying? Now you have exam results, you have interview results. What can you do by worrying? Can I change the results by worrying too much? Can I change the results by getting scared? No, you can't. The answer is no. So all you have to do is stop and take a deep breath. Be patient. Just accept the results however they come. Now, if you are happy with the results, good. If you are not happy with the results, see what went wrong, what were your mistakes, and then learn. Learn from your mistakes, then overcome them. So next time you will not repeat it, so that there will be nothing to be afraid or anxious or stressed about.
I agree. We've seen some of the kinds of fear, what causes them, and we've seen some good ways to tackle and manage the fear.
True.
So next time you get scared of something, instead of panicking, stop and think what is causing the fear and try to find the best way to handle it, and make sure that your fear never stops you from achieving anything in life.
Let us listen to a story.
Today, let's listen to a story. I'm going to narrate a story for you. Stories always interest people. Apart from the interest, they can teach us many aspects of the language. We can see the sentence structures and we can also learn the vocabulary. Let's listen to the story. The title of the story is The Farmer and His Donkey. The story begins like this. You can please only some people at all times. You can please all the people only sometimes, but you cannot please all the people at all times. Here is a story to illustrate this. Once a farmer wanted to sell his donkey. He, along with his son, decided to sell it in the village nearby. They walked, towing the donkey behind them. They did not want to ride on the donkey, as it might get tired and not fetch a good price. As they were on their way, some passers-by laughed at the farmer and his son. They said, "Look at those fools. Can't one of them ride the donkey?" Hearing this, the farmer asked his son to ride on the donkey. When they had gone a little further, some people saw the son riding on the donkey and remarked, "Look at this boy. He rides on the donkey and makes his old father walk." The son immediately got off the donkey and made his father climb just to please the folks. A little later, a few women saw the father riding the donkey and said, "How cruel of this man to make his son walk while he sits comfortably on the donkey." The farmer got annoyed on hearing this and made his son also climb on the donkey's back. And now the father and the son were happily riding the donkey. When the people saw this, they said, "Cruel, aren't they? The poor donkey is sure to collapse." The father and the son quickly jumped down the donkey, hearing this. Now they decided the best thing would be to carry the donkey. They tied the donkey's legs and carried it. As they neared the village, they had to cross a bridge over a river. Some children who saw this laughed at this strange sight. The donkey, hearing all the noises around, turned and twisted. The father and the son lost their balance and couldn't hold on the donkey, and it fell down into the river below. The father and the son had to return home without a penny. So my dear friends, the story teaches us that we should not go on listening to what the people may have to say about us. We should only do what we feel is right or what we think is correct. Because if we go on listening to people, then we may not land anywhere and we may not be able to achieve our goals. Now, in the story, you may have found some words difficult, so let me explain those words to you. One of them is please. Please means to make somebody happy. The other word is fetch. Fetch means to get a good price or to get a good amount of money. The other word is annoyed. Annoyed means to make somebody unhappy or angry. Then the other one is collapse. Collapse means to fall down or to break down. So, my dear friends, I hope you have enjoyed the story and learned something from it. Thank you.
Now, listen to this parable and try to find out the language elements.
Hi Mansi. Hello Varsha. You know, I told you long back that I wanted to learn a foreign language. So I finally started with German language.
Oh, very good. Good choice.
It is. Finally, when I got my books, my textbook and my classes started and I opened the books, I started to learn and read. It was so difficult. Not one grammar concept, not one word or those sentences, they're nothing similar to any language that I learned so far. It feels so difficult for me to learn, difficult for me to even understand. The voice, the tone, the pronunciation, everything is so difficult. Sometimes, you know, I feel I may not be able to achieve this by the end of the day. I'm thinking of giving it up.
No, don't give it up. You know what? Anything that you want to do, you will have difficulties, Varsha. Okay, let me make a comparison.
Okay.
I'll tell you an analogy in the form of a little story.
Okay.
So once there was a beautiful lush garden, okay, and in this garden there were all sorts of flowers. There were tulips, there were hibiscus flowers, hibiscus ante mandara puvulu.
Okay.
Then there were chrysanthemums, there were those tiny white flowers with 5 petals. In Telugu we call it Garudavardhani.
Okay.
And then there were also beautiful roses in all colors, white, red, pink roses, yellow roses.
Oh,
lovely
roses are my
colours.
favorite.
Yeah, roses are beautiful flowers. So the garden was filled with it. And wherever you go, you're getting that aroma, that lovely smell of the flowers. So once there was a child walking in this garden.
Okay.
And the child spotted a plant of roses. And it saw at the top, there was a beautiful lush pink rose.
Oh.
And it wanted to pluck the rose and smell it.
Okay.
So it reached up his hand and tried to take the rose flower. But when the child did that, the thorns on the stem of the rose began to poke the child's hand.
Oh.
And it was not able to reach for the flower. In the same way, when you're trying to learn German, you're finding obstacles when you're trying to reach your goal of learning the German language. But remember, anything that is beautiful, anything that is worth succeeding for does not come easy. There will be obstacles, there will be difficulties, but you should make sure that you don't lose your spirit. You should be perseverant, you should motivate yourself and overcome the difficulties, because it is not impossible. You tell me, if it is so impossible to learn German, how are there German pundits? How are there so many people in the world learning German? They all overcame because they said, even though there are difficulties, I will still persevere. Kashtalu ochina, I will still keep trying and never stop till I reach my goal.
Exactly. I should also be careful about it, and my zeal to learn German language should not be given up so easy.
Don't give up that easy. Don't give up just yet.
Absolutely not.
Keep trying until you reach your goal.
I will pursue it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, listen to this parable and try to find out the language elements.
Hi Manasi.
Hi Varsha, good morning.
Good morning. It's a lovely day.
It is.
Hey, do you remember the story of a deaf frog and the stream that we just read yesterday?
Yeah, very interesting story.
Interesting story, na? I think we should share that story with everyone today. There is something each of us could learn.
Sure, definitely. So now let's listen to a small parable, a small moral story about the deaf frog and the stream, and let's see what we can learn from it. So once upon a time, there was a forest, and the forest has so many animals. So in the same way, there was a group of frogs, and they were jumping about, making their way in the forest. They came across a small stream of water. So if they had to go to the other side, they had to jump over the water. So some of the frogs wanted to try and jump, and some of the frogs said, I will not jump, because the stream was a little big.
Oh.
So whichever frog tried to jump over the water, it was not able to. So one by one, each frog who tried to jump fell into that stream.
Okay.
And the frogs who were not jumping, they kept shouting, you are not able to jump, don't try to jump. The water stream is too wide, you will not be able to do it. So one by one, each frog tried to jump, listening to the discouragement of the other frogs, and was not able to make it. Finally, there was one deaf frog.
Okay.
Deaf meaning the frog cannot hear. The ability to hear is not there. So a deaf frog came next. It was about to jump. And before jumping, in the same way, the other frogs were shouting, don't jump, don't jump. You cannot make it, the stream is too wide for you. But luckily for the deaf frog, it could not even hear the comments being made by the other frogs. It simply closed its eyes, took a deep breath, and focused on the goal. What was the goal? To jump over the stream. So fully focused, not listening to anyone else, it took a big leap of faith and then crossed the river. So what do we understand from this story? We understand that no matter what we do, there will always be people who are making comments.
There will be always people who will discourage just because they are not able to do it, or they don't have enough confidence or faith in them. They tend to demotivate others directly or indirectly.
Exactly.
But we need to focus on our target, on our goal, and just like you said, have faith and then do it, just like the deaf frog did.
Exactly. So whatever you do, as Varsha rightly said, there will be people who may be there to discourage you from doing that particular work. But like the deaf frog, pay a deaf ear to those people. Don't listen to what they have to say. They may have their own reasons to discourage you, but don't give it any importance. Focus on your goal, just like the deaf frog focused on jumping over the river. And when you focus on a goal wholeheartedly and give your full soul into it without paying attention to others, you will definitely do whatever it is that you want to succeed in.
Very well said.
So I think we've learned something good from this story. Thank you all so much for joining us and listening.